Hey guys, welcome to Knockers on the Bottom. I'm your host, Jay Mill, Jay Miller if you like. So just want to get into some things with the Cowboys today. So the Cowboys actually have signed Linval Joseph. If you remember who that is, he started early on in his career with the New York Giants. He was a one technique defensive tackle, big trash can of dirt guy for that team. He actually ended up going to the Minnesota Vikings and playing under head coach at the time, Mike Zimmer, who of course you guys all know now is the Dallas Cowboys defensive coordinator. So now he is on the Dallas Cowboys, which gives Mozzie Smith a true backup. Jordan Phillips could have done some one technique stuff, but also does three technique stuff. He's a giant guy as well. He provides some pass rush, but now this gives the Cowboys a little bit more of a solidified rotation. When you talk about Linval Joseph sharing snaps with Mozzie Smith, pretty much probably split right down the middle, 50-50. He is a true trash can of dirt guy. He's a hard guy to move in the middle, a la Jonathan Hankins, although if you ask me, Linval Joseph, at least over the course of his career, has been a little bit better of a player than Jonathan Hankins. So now you add him, you add Phillips. I mean, that's 720 pounds of man in the middle that you just added to that defense. So we're gonna see how the Cowboys do because the games have to be played. But if you're wondering if they're going to be able to stop the run or if they care about stopping the run, I mean, I think this says it all. And honestly, this probably balances your defensive line rotation because now Chauncey Golston can play at his more natural position, which is strong side defensive end. He can probably be your direct backup to DeMarcus Lawrence. And then on the other side, you're going to have Marshawn Nealon and Carl Lawson. And then also you're going to have Micah Parsons playing some end, even though he's probably going to be lining up everywhere. They're going to be playing Where's Waldo with that guy, trying to figure out on every snap where Parsons is lining up. But that's going to give you some real good flexibility, especially at those different times where you want to use a five down lineman front. Or if some of those times you want to go real heavy, imagine it's goal line and you're on the goal line and you've got Mozzie Smith in the middle and you've got Osa Odighizuwa in the middle, but then you have Jordan Phillips lined up at one end, and you have Linval Joseph lined up at the other end, and then you can kind of stack those guys, Lawson and Lawrence, outside of them, and just kind of try to say, hey, let's see your beef beat our beef. This is the first time in a while the Cowboys have had a lot of beef in the middle. I'm excited to see what that's going to be like. I know Linval Joseph just got there. He wasn't in training camp with anybody. He was a street free agent. So it's going to be a little while before we see him in practice. He's going to kind of, what they call it, a ramp up. So he's going to ramp up. He's probably going to get in there, work on the strength and conditioning cords a little bit, introduce himself to the team, do a little bit more each day. And then probably about next week sometime, we'll see him start to work into the practice rotation and get a feel for how he's going to be. But he's an experienced veteran. He's experienced in Mike Zimmer's defense. This is not his first rodeo. So for what his job is, like we were talking about with Mozzie Smith way long ago, if you're looking for sacks, if you're looking for tackles for loss, big splash plays, you've come to the wrong place. The way Linval Joseph is going to look great is if those linebackers are clean and they're making and they're running and they're hitting and making tackles for loss. If those guys are playing well, if they're eating up double teams and allowing Micah Parsons to get one-on-ones, I mean, look out. I mean, the guy gets double team and triple team and still ends up with 13 and 14 sacks a year. So now having some legit beef in the middle and having some other experienced guys on the outside like a Carl Lawson to be able to take some of that pressure off of him being double team. I mean, I see nightmares for offensive coordinators if you were to go with a five-man front and your fifth man was Micah Parsons on the outside, but you put him on the same side as Carl Lawson. Or shit, you put him on the same side as D-Law. Either way, you're going to have trouble. Or hey, how about this? We got Osa and we got Phillips in the middle with D-Law and Carl Lawson, and now Micah Parsons is lined up over the center trying to make hell for that guy. That's 5-on-5. What you going to do then? So it gives Mike Zimmer a lot of creative flexibility on what he wants to do with his defense. So that's going to look pretty great. The portion of practice I watched today was more of like the red zone one-on-one, what Jason Garrett used to call like the compete period. So it's basically the cornerbacks and the wide receivers line up one-on-one and run routes, to try to get open in the end zone. Quarterback hits them. Some of them are fades. Some of them are stop goes. Some of them are slants. Some of them, I don't know what the route is, but some of them are the route where the wide receiver comes up and he takes the cornerback hard inside, but then he settles down, drops his hips, and runs back to the outside. I got to get a name for that route, but it's very popular. Cole Beasley used to run that route all the time. So they were running a combination of those. But Trey Lance placed a nice couple of balls today. It looked like Ryan Flournoy, man, picked up right where he left off in the game. I actually watched him give the exact same move that he gave to the cornerback from the Raiders to score the touchdown. He gave that same exact move to Deron Bland and caught a pass in the back of the end zone. Looked awesome. Izzy McQuamu had some great reps challenging Tyron Billy Johnson in the back corner of the end zone. He knocked a couple away. He did allow a touchdown pass, but even that touchdown pass he allowed, he was in super good position. You know, it's just, hey, this is the NFL, man. Sometimes you're going to lose that battle. Number 84, Harmon, he's actually still making plays. He has really good hands. He made a couple of nice catches on some throws from Dak and on some throws from Cooper and Trey. Also, it looked like number 14, there's so many freaking 14s out there. Bell's wearing 14, and then Racey McMath earlier in camp was wearing 14, and now it's David Durden wearing number 14. So I don't know. Cam Johnson has been wearing 14. So it was one of the 14s. It was actually, funny enough, being covered by Bell, who also wears 14. But he had a couple of reps where he got inside, but he kind of dropped the ball, he hit the ground. You know, there was one rep where he won where Bell hit the ground and he was able to make the catch. So that was nice. There was another good route by number 6. I don't know who that is, but he went up the sideline like he was going to head for a fade, and then he broke his route off and headed to the front pylon, and Trey Lance delivered the ball perfectly in his breadbasket, and it, was a would-be touchdown. So that's kind of the drills that I saw today. Not much. Looks like a lot of the people that are doing video for the Cowboys training camp practices are starting to leave Oxnard and head back to their respective destinations. So we'll probably have to wait till everybody settles back in Oxnard to start getting a little bit more video from Cowboys practice to see what's going on. But I know there'll be plenty of news. We still got CeeDee Lamb's contract. That's got to be close and coming any day now. And then we also have the preseason finale game against the Chargers happening Saturday. So we got that to look forward to as well. And then the Cowboys will get back into Oxnard. And back into Dallas. They're all leaving Oxnard. So the Cowboys will get back to Dallas, get back to the Star, and then after that preseason game, I believe they have a couple of days to make their cut downs to get to the final roster. The Cowboys do like to do some funky things when it comes to cutting down the roster. They'll do some things like cut their kicker, cut their long snapper, and things like that people they're going to sign back, but because they're vested veterans, they don't have to clear waivers. They can just cut them, do their 53-man roster, have it solid for one day. They have to have one day of this is our roster, and then they can start tinkering and putting people on the pup and signing those guys back and putting people on the practice squad or whatever they want to do. So the Cowboys do some funny roster manipulation just to get the guys that they want to keep. I don't know if they'll necessarily have to do that this year, but with some of the new additions, they might have to. Draft class looks pretty strong. Plus, they just went out and signed 2 guys. Actually, they've signed a number of guys during training camp, if you count Tony and Huggins and the 2 linebackers and Muhammad and Carl Lawson and Linval Josheph, and then they traded for Phillips. So they've added 8 people to their roster over about the last 16 days or so. So they might have to do some, more manipulation just to get some of the guys they want. I know some of those guys are just camp bodies or flyers that they were taking, but that'll happen right after the preseason game. And then the next day, we'll probably get more of the real roster, because the Cowboys will start moving people then and signing people back and doing whatever they have to do. And then it'll be on to getting prepared for the Cleveland Browns. So thank you guys for tuning in. I'll have lots of stuff to follow up with you. If the Cowboys do make another move, let's say, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock tonight, CeeDee Lamb all of a sudden to sign, I'll hop on, do a quick episode just to let you guys know what's going on with that, contract details, parameters, when we can expect them in. But until then, like the video. If you like the video, subscribe so you know when I'm coming on. If you have anything specifically that you want me to cover, you can leave it in the comments below. You can hit me up on Twitter. It's J Miller, IYL, J Miller if you like. JMillerIYL. Also, you can submit questions via email as well. It's knockersonthebottom@outlook.com. Again, knockersonthebottom@outlook.com. Once I get enough of them, I'll do it in a mailbag format. Hopefully, we'll try to make it a routine segment. But yeah, thank you guys. You guys are the best. You guys are great. Love you. Thank you for tuning in. This has been J Mill. J Miller, if you like. Knockers on the Bottom. Peace.